The following is a presentation of TFNN. Live at TFNN, the Power Trading Hour, with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another exciting edition of the Power Trading Hour with me, your lovable, huggable, and squeezably soft host. Once again, into the breach, dear friends. If you don't know that poem, then you don't know anything. Better need to go look that up. Once again, into the breach, dear friends. And we've got a market that is moving, and it's moving my way, so I am happy. Besides one of the most beautiful days that I can think, it makes a life worth living. Gorgeous 78, sunny, azure blue skies here in Tampa, God's country. We look at the markets, and of course, off 14 points, which I'd say 90% of the time in the last 15 years, no one would say anything about that being anything other than a average day. And of course, today, it's a beyond average day because, of course, markets never go down. They only go to the moon. They're like Jack and the Beanstalk. It just grows up to the clouds. And it is something that is not allowed. Off 13.5 points on the S&P cash at 2093, 2.5 billion shares. That's in something also that is just not allowed. We are not allowed to sell with the kind of volume that we have today. It's just not allowed. I don't know what someone's going to try to do to step in the way of this. I don't know if there is anything they can do. Basically, the Fed walked away from probably raising rates at all. And the takeaway is that they don't have any bullets left. They've done everything they can. It's now up to Congress. And at best, you could probably say that they're incompetent, the worst, corrupt. But certainly, it doesn't look like we're going to get our fiscal house, at least legislatively, in order anytime soon. Going into the elections next year makes it very difficult for the Fed to do anything. One of the things that I think Bernanke wanted to do is start raising rates earlier. I suspect that's why he got kicked out so unceremoniously. Of course, he had a nice golden parachute with going to work for PIMCO this week. So we won't have to pass the hat, and we won't see him out on the street corner with a cup with pencils in it anytime soon. I'm sure he'll make more in the next year than he made in all the years as Fed. But I do digress. We look at that volume, 2.5 million shares are 2.5 billion shares. I've got a little bit of Dr. Evil in me, I think, today. Anyway, 2.5 billion shares means that we're probably going to be due about 4.2 billion to 4.3 billion by the end of the day. And I think that tells you everything if you are a volume watcher. When we get to the NASDAQ, of course, has been very, very strong, up, up most of the time. Down 64 points, which is about 1.3% at 49.59. When we look at the Dow Jones, which I rarely do, down 112 points at 17,923. Not as big a deal on that. I think from both the NASDAQ and to a greater extent, the S&P, we're seeing pretty good movement out here. When we look at the IWM, which is small caps, off about 1.7%. And when we look to foreign markets, that's where you start seeing the real destruction, and I suspect we're going to see even more of that coming into the weekend. We look at gold. I have not been a gold bull, and I think anybody that's listening to the show knows it. Very interesting action yesterday, and I don't know what else you can say. This action is incredibly bearish in gold, 1182.90 right now, off at 27 bucks on it. When we look at silver, it's off 56 cents at $16.10. We look at crude, it continues to push. It looks to me like the fear is in crude. Part of that push could be that what we do see is the Iranians already cheating on whatever agreements we have today. And it's going to make it incredibly difficult for the president to bend over backwards. I think he'd snap his back at this point, trying to explain how the Iranians don't intend to instantly get a nuclear weapon as soon as sanctions are off and they're able to spend all that cash building nuclear weapons. As I've said before, in history, many political figures have found their destiny on their way and on their desire to avoid it. I suspect this president will be no different. He will find his destiny even though he tries to avoid it. And that will probably come to it, but I suspect that's why we're seeing a little bit more action than you would normally think you were going to get in crude today. But I do digress. Platinum off 12.5 bucks, so it's looking a little bit better out here compared to gold. But what else can you say? Dollar index not really moving all that much so far today. On the continuous contract, $95.02, which is off 19 cents. We certainly did break that 96.30 level that had been support, and you could have knocked me over with a feather on that. I suspected that at least we were going to hang in that higher trading range. That gold is down and the dollar index is below this is got to be extremely troubling for gold bulls. The story is not written in stone yet, but I still have been waiting to go long gold when we have some kind of washout that basically makes people hate it. And when it's the most hated yellow commodity in the world, it's probably going to be the time to buy it. Of course, we're seeing a lot of weakness again in the junior miners. Pretty good move in the JDST today. But it's not over. It's not over until I say it's over, as I said yesterday. Other stocks of big interest, we talked about discontinuation of these 3D printer stocks. SSYS off yet another 7% today, and it just doesn't seem to get any better. DDD holding up a little bit better at 25 bucks. But we've got a lot of other stocks moving out here today. I've got some clips from one of my favorite people in the market that doesn't seem to be, or as they like to say in those old movies, does not speak with forked tongue. The old forked tongue reference. You don't hear that a lot anymore. But certainly we like history here.
That it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
On this day in 1999, Priceline.com goes public at 16 bucks a share, and 1 month earlier closes the day at 162.37, giving a tiny internet company a 1 month return of 914%. The total market value is $23 billion, probably the fastest and stupidest stock up run up yet, but it's all down here from here. Priceline ends up losing 99% of its value by the end of 2000. And at that point, a buy, believe it or not. And of course, we see that these days. But my guess is that if we're going to have any long-term plays, it's certainly going to go back on this model, which is if a company can make it through the worst of the pullback that I suspect is coming, that is going to be probably maybe even in the next year, the place where we're going to be able to get bone-crushing, life-altering returns in some of these stocks. I do not buy stocks long-term when we've got a PE that is pushing 21. We talked about that over the last couple of weeks. Every kind of metric says that when everybody is euphoric, you should be afraid. When everybody's afraid, you should be euphoric. And that becomes the duality of this market. And certainly the ability to be contrary to what the group and the herd are doing. As they say, it's time to buy when blood is in the streets, not when everybody and their dog is out popping corks of $1,000 wine, which I think is pretty much what everybody, the NASDAQ boys, are doing. And I've written my next parody also. It is going to be to the tune of American Pie. And maybe I'll give everybody just a little taste today if I get some time, depending on how long it goes. But I think it's quite apropos, as they like to say. Other things going on out here, of course, the blood is running in the streets after hours, and we've got to keep an eye on that. American International after the bell, along with Boyd Gaming's, Brooks Automation, Crocs, Expedia, Easy Corp, JDS Uniphase, LinkedIn, Live Nation, Skyworks Solutions, Trimble Navigation, Visa, and Western Union, among some of those reporting tonight. And did MasterCard come out this morning? I got to check on that. Where is old MasterCard? Because they're almost always like one day away from what we have in, what is it, MC, isn't it? MC. What do we have next couple of days? April 29th. Oh, I guess it's over yesterday. I missed them. I guess I did remember that they were out yesterday morning. But it must have not been anything big. I'll look at it here when we get a minute. Other things going on out here is we basically talked about the ability for Apple to have a bad hair day going on over a week now. Talking about the asymmetrical pattern, this one certainly looks like it is playing out as we discussed, which is you really have to watch these things, that it is normally a head fake when you break these about 80% of the time. There are some more. If you look up asymmetrical or actually symmetrical triangles, you'll probably find an Investopedia article on it. And I don't use it that way so much as a indication of head fakes. But there's a little bit more to it. One of the guys in the den brought it up yesterday. But for me, I always look at this as and the ability to see these stocks moving out. And this is the chart I used when I started talking about Apple's impending problems. And you needed to watch out for a close back below that 127, 126 area. Last I looked, the thing was printing off here in the 125s, if I'm not mistaken. Let's take a quick look. 125.59. So you've got confirmation, and this is a long-term topping pattern. We can come up with a lot of reasons why, maybe just not smoothly launching the products. Of course, there was something coming out yesterday that also has a problematic, and I talked to somebody about it at lunch, and we'll talk about it when we come back.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
You've always taken the long view when it comes to investing, but what if there's an opportunity right under your nose? What if you could be more responsive to market trends to seek to boost your portfolio performance right now while seeking to reduce your overall risk? At Direction Funds, we connect investors with alternative strategies that seek to maximize their returns. Smart investors deserve smart alternatives. Find yours at directionfunds.com. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of Direction Funds carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction Funds. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact the Direction Funds at 800-851-0511. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. Investing in index funds may be more volatile than investing in broadly diversified funds. Distributed by Rafferty Capital Markets, LLC. Fund Services, LLC.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Dave takes your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
Anyway, someone brought it up before me yesterday about the material event in Apple's earnings. That they came out and said, you know, maybe we won't be able to hide all these taxes, and maybe we'll have to pay them for the last 10 years. Could that be the kind of thing that cracks Apple wide open, even with their billions and billions to buy back shares? And I thought, well, probably not, because, you know, so they throw $10 billion at the EU or something. They still have $190 billion left. Now, here's where I take a detour to a business consultant that I was talking to at lunch today. And I was telling him about it, and he said, well, the problem may not be that. The problem may be that they shut off the ability for Apple to buy back shares in the rest of the world, which means that they have to repatriate the money, take the 35% or 50% loss or whatever it is on taxes before they can start returning that money. And that may be it. These stocks that have been, and companies that have been buying back huge amounts of shares, may be one of these companies that is going to basically have a ton of cash, have nowhere to spend it, and the only thing they can do is repatriate it and pay the taxes. And that may be the biggest fiscal change in world tax policy in the near future. And it's unclear whether or not the EU has enough power to do that by themselves. Apple has painted itself as the friend of the downtrodden and the enlightened. And of course, like 99.9% of the people in either Silicon Valley or in Wall Street, highly hypocritical, because the first thing they do is take every kind of way that they can work an angle so that they pay less taxes, while telling everybody else why they're not paying enough. There's no end to the amount of hypocrisy, and I'll include myself in there. We all probably hate the things in ourselves worse than anybody else. So when we see people doing it, we bring it up. Kind of like a non-smoker that was a smoker. Probably the worst thing you can do is smoke in front of them then. A reformed smoker, let me put it that way. So we've got a lot of people that have what may be something that only amounts to eventually, and I don't know if maybe there's some backroom deals already going on between the current U.S. administration and Europe and the rest of the world, but maybe that's what it is. The idea that we will force U.S. companies to repatriate the cash and have to pay on it, and maybe Apple, with the biggest load of cash out there in the world, is in the crosshairs. We just don't know it yet. His thought was, though, that is what is happening. And the guy has worldly experience, especially in Asia and Europe. And he thought that maybe that's what the warning from Apple actually was. Of course, it's hard to tell when you get two news items at the same time. There's no alternate reality where one came out and another one came out. It was already kind of weak. There were rumors of the problem with the watch going back at least 2 months. They expanded yesterday morning, so we never really know which one of these two things really did it. Maybe it was the combination of the two. Maybe it could have absorbed one news article and not the other. But it'll be hard to tell. One thing we do know, though, is we get a close down here, especially under 126. That would give you a fairly good indication that at least this chart pattern is saying that we have an extensive top in Apple for a while. So we will think about that. Other things of interest out here, we had Jim Grant coming out. And Jim, I'm not going to have time to do it now, but he had an excellent interview. I recommend you all going to CNBC and trying to find it from yesterday at about 4 p.m. I've got 3 clips that I'm going to play when I come back. If there is a guy in Wall Street that is not forked tongue, that has iron in his words. Oh, I love that movie. Don't you too? Only the paper can't contain the iron. Only the person can. Oh, Josie Wells. You got to love it. Anyway, we'll talk about that when we come back. But we've got Grant, about 3 different clips that he just said were absolutely fantastic. In the meantime, you can give me a call at 877-927-6648, 877-927-6648. You can email me at path@tfnn.com. You can also post a message in the den.
The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN, and you'll find The Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com. TFNN.com now. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's Nadex.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock in option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
If you're like me, you see the world's emerging nations as a very real opportunity, as these countries and their economies are developing right before our eyes. And you can rest assured that Everbank has spotted this opportunity too. In fact, they just recently unveiled the new 5-year market-safe future economy CD. This is a CD that could really deliver, but you only have until May 7th to take advantage. Consider the facts. If the future economy's currencies beat the US dollar over the CD term, you'll get all the upside. And should they lose? No worries. There's zero downside risk here, as you still get back 100% of your deposited principal. Intrigued yet? The May 7th funding deadline is quickly approaching. So hurry over to everbank.com/TFNN-CD for more information, including important product details and disclosures. Once again, that's everbank.com/TFNN-CD. Everbank is an equal housing lender and member FDIC.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And we talked about the pattern with an asymmetrical triangle. Even with the kind of volume that this thing had at the high, you could call it a blow-off top. I suspect that we had blow-off tops in many stocks. The IBB certainly looked like that. Last Thursday, I wrote in my newsletter that I thought the IBB had topped along with the IWM and several other things. We added stocks all the way into Wednesday's announcement in the daily trading newsletter. I actually had a short during earnings in the longer-term newsletter that I think is playing off and out fairly well. It's probably going to take a little bit longer for this one to gestate a bit, but they're doing okay. It's one of these stocks that the street is going to try to hold up. One day we're just going to walk in, it's going to be down 20% like a lot of these other ones. But it is interesting to see the movement in something like Apple. In the meantime, I was going to get to Jim Grant's comments last night on CNBC. We'll get to those in a moment. We have our special commentator, Ross Perot, who's commenting on the action out here today as we've just broken the lows of the day at 2088 on the S&P, which looks like we got more pain to go before the end of the day.
There will be a giant sucking sound.
And I think Ross is correct. I kind of like that. He's Johnny on the spot anytime we need that kind of comment. Anyway, Jim Grant, we're going to play 3 clips of his here. I think they're self-explanatory. I'll explain it. I don't remember which order I have these in now, but here goes.
Except 0% rates mean that you must have a great many more assets in order to generate income. And this is starving, for example, the German life insurance companies. And there was a note on the part of one of the European regulators on the looming crisis of German life companies. A record low frequency of defaults in junk bonds. On its face, a desirable thing, except what this means is they're pushing back failure. We must have failure in capitalism in order to allow new things to come and develop.
Kind of an interesting comment. I think he slipped it under the radar there, which is that all these German life insurance companies all have a bunch of huge time bombs. And he continues on.
I mean, as a proposition of risk and reward, you are being paid about nothing after tax, and you are being paid less than nothing in many cases to buy the emissions of improvident sovereigns. I mean, it doesn't really sound like a good idea, right? The reason it sounds like a workable idea is that interest rates have been going down for more than 30 years. And in Europe, there is a regulatory regime that positively favors sovereign debt. It treats it as something that is without risk. Well, of course it has risk, priced as where it is. An insurance company in Europe, you are looking at a higher capital rating on cash than you are on sovereign debt, as David Einhorn reminded us at the Grants event a couple of weeks ago.
So basically, a lot of these comments have to do with the ex-head of PIMCO, who now runs his own show over at Janus, saying that he had the short of a lifetime, and that is... you know, I don't know what you can say. I asked Tom about it last week. And the problem is that you don't know when these guys are pushing their own thing. Jim Grant actually said that he was going hoarse because he's been talking about this forever. And like all bubbles, they go on for a long time, a lot longer than they think that they can go on. He finishes up with this, which I think is rather poignant. And what else can you say? I'll comment it when he's done.
So, you know, the establishment wants people to own bonds. It's now the anointed safe asset. But there is no intrinsically safe asset. It's a matter of price and value. So in 2005 and 6, everyone loaded up on mortgage debt, on securitized mortgage structures. But that was the asset of the cycle. And the asset of the cycle now is sovereign debt yielding just about nothing.
That's it. Sovereign debt, and you get nothing for it. And you'll like it. And that's it. But anyway, if you want the whole thing, it runs about 5 minutes. It ran about 4 o'clock yesterday on CNBC, if you check their site. I probably can dig up the, in fact, I do have the link. If anybody wants it, they can always email me at path@tfnn.com. But there's only a handful of people that I trust on Wall Street. Mostly I do opposite of whatever they tell me to do and feel better about it. But he's at least he's one of the straight shooters out there. And the thing is that when you listen to him, he won't be right in the moment. But eventually over time, the laws of finance do not get repealed. And the long arm of the financial law will come and clean your clock. And all you have to do is wait long enough to do so. Anyway, pretty interesting guy out there. We're going to get into some, we got 10 minutes here in the segment left. Let's get into some of the movers out here today. And where are we at out here? Am I up or down? ABC beat Q2 consensus EPS estimates by 26 cents. Again, a lot of these stocks are popping, running fairly higher, and then pulling right back into these trading range. Amerisource Bergen Corporation, you know, you had everything you want, huge volume, everything else, and you've got this line of resistance right around 116, 117, where people have been selling since the 20th of March. So it's kind of tough to see how this changes anything in this. You've got people willing to pull the trigger on these. We've got considerable weakness in the Chinese market. I suspect that in the next couple of days, we're going to see that 40% bounce that most of those markets have had probably get chopped in half over the next few days or early parts of next week. We've seen that in Baidu today. We talked about how they were going to reduce the amount of employees that they have. It's not huge volume. We're back at least testing the low of February 12th, 199.70, 14 million shares. Hasn't quite touched that yet. It's about, what, 50, 60 cents higher than that. And, you know, you about half volume. So is this thing going to hang around that $200 level? Probably for a little while. My guess is as the rest of the third world starts sinking into the abyss, that is anytime we get a cold, they get pneumonia and Ebola. But my guess is this is headed down to at least the 194 low from October 15th next year. And the question is, in a liquidity crisis, which China could really have and have quickly, will any of these lows hold? And my guess is that Chinese will respond, but they will respond late to fry a lot of these people that have been using at least the Chinese stock markets and indexes as a casino now that they've been told not to go to the casinos, actually. COMM. What else do we have out here? Nice little pop-up on this one. Let's see what the news is on this one that I had written down. Beat Q1 consensus EPS estimates by 6 cents. Reported inline revenues guided Q2 EPS below consensus, but reaffirmed the total year. So just a soft first quarter. I think there were a lot of people that were expecting a lot worse in this, and it popped up a little bit today. Anything to write home about? Not so far. Still in this huge line of distribution, just under 29 bucks that goes back from about the first of the month into about the 23rd. To EQIX, which is Equinox, the reporting company for credit. A nice little pop out here on this guy today. Reported Q1 results. Revenues guided in line, guided Q2 revenues above consensus, guided fiscal year 15 revs in line. Price target raised today. So they got a little bit of upgrade. Not a lot of volume out here. I'd be watching for this one for a potential reversal signal very quickly on a bogus upgrade. To PCRX, which is Pacira Pharmaceuticals, reported Q1 earnings of 27 cents per share, excluding non-recurring items, 6 cents better than Capital IQ estimates. But basically, going forward is ugly. And suspended its full-year guidance for one of its drugs. And that is what's sinking this bad boy today, along with the rest of the IBB. They picked a bad day to give up smoking crack and come out and tell everybody that its guidance was going to be suspended on one of its major drugs out here. PCC, Pilgrim's Pride. This one's up a little bit out here. Reported Q1 earnings of 82 cents per share, 5 cents better than estimates, and guiding up slightly. Now, this one actually had a fairly decent bottom because it's been trying to go down with lighter volume since February 12th. But in a market headed down, it's going to be tough to think that this doesn't have problems of its own in the near future. RBC Capital, what did I have on this one? Maybe nothing. ROK, it was a bank shot on something. Beat Q2 consensus EPS estimates by 17 cents. Reported revenues in line, reaffirmed guidance for the year. And I think a lot of people were thinking this thing was going to tank. Did go up to 122.66 today, which is against this huge volume day down going back to, June 30th of last year with almost 3 million shares. It's doing that about the same up. But, of course, it went above those highs and promptly reversed quite a bit. STM Microelectronics, STM is the symbol on it, has come back and totally filled this gap today on some monstrous gap down. Where was find this guy out here? Reported Q1 EPS in line, but it guided its revenues down and downgraded also, and that's the double whammy. Back to this gap up that was on December 29th this year, and that gap popped up on 11.8 million shares. We're down at about 3.3 million shares, so probably you gotten everything you're going to get out of that. Vail out with earnings, and what do we have on Vail? Reported why do I keep on saying QU? Q1 results, adjusted EBITDA was 1.6 billion. Gross revenues reached 6.35 billion and may not compare to its year earlier. Off about 3%, but to me, this thing has never made a bottom that you could trade off of. Volume did shrink a little bit, but not anything close that would make me think that this is not coming back down to about the mid $5 level. A nice pop off the bottom, but I suspect temporary, and you're going to drift back down to that mid $5 level on lighter volume. Maybe you finally find a low. WX announced receipt of a proposal to acquire all outstanding shares, including the ADSs on it at $46 a share. Got to $45, kind of pulled back out here to 43. Not real clear whether this is a real deal or not. Again, a lot of these things are coming kind of out of the blue, like CRM did. What are my thoughts tonight on CHK? CHK. Chesapeake Energy. Probably going to have fairly poor earnings. The question is whether or not anything suggests that these guys are going to turn it around. I know it's pretty high short interest, so unless it's really bad, you may even get a little pop out of this. I guess it's going to be sold. You still need to come down and test the $13.38 low out here, but I don't know. It's just hard for me to say that any of these companies' earnings are going to get any better anytime soon. Can you get highly short stocks like this to pop? Just look at GoPro this week. If you tell a good story, can you run the shorts? I think the answer is yes. I wouldn't be betting either way on this one. I would be all cash going into earnings and maybe playing them off that if you do get some kind of sign of big low. Zimmer Holdings, another one out here. ZMH is the symbol on this guy. What's reported I've said it again, Q1 EPS is in line, missed on revenues, lowered fiscal year 15 guidance, and lowered accretion guidance for some of its mergers. So not good at all. Down 4% earlier today, off and through the previous low on what's going to be probably decent volume. You still have time to give me a call at 877-927-6648. You can email me, as someone has done. We'll answer their question when we come back, or you can post a message in the den.
Trade with confidence and clarity while using the software that thousands of institutional traders rely on to make the best and most accurate decisions. Choose from 1,000 equities, currencies, and futures instruments utilizing the TAS architecture. As seen on Bloomberg terminals worldwide, the TAS Profile Scanner is a benchmark technical filtering system that thousands of traders rely on, and now you can too. For a limited time for TFNN subscribers only, we've reduced the price to just $97. That's over 75% off. John Logan hosted a special subscriber-only webinar in December, and you'll gain access to that archive as well, so you can learn exactly what the TAS Profile Scanner can do for you. Try this product out. No matter what you trade, the TAS Profile Scanner can help you make more informed trading decisions. There's no obligation to pay anything. Don't let this offer pass you by. Get your 30-day free trial to the TAS Profile Scanner today by signing up at TFNN.com.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Do you know the 7 most critical factors that influence every decision you make, and how not knowing these will jeopardize the health, the wealth, and the relationships you deserve? I'm Steve Rhodes, morning host of TFNN.com, and for the last quarter of a century, I've studied and used the secrets of human growth, the same formulas used by leaders of nations, billionaires and millionaires, and the most successful athletes on the planet. Would you like to break through any obstacle that gets in between you and the success you deserve? Would you like to turn fear into strength? If you could find a way to achieve, be fulfilled, and live a life of meaning, wouldn't you want to know the answer? I'll teach you the factors that control your state of mind and the drivers that impact every thought, emotion, behavior, and action we take in my new webinar, The Psychology of Trading. Join me for this 2-part online event where I'll unveil the secrets to human pattern recognition, because they're not what you think. And soon, you'll have the health, the wealth, and the relationships you deserve. Just go to the homepage of TFNN.com and click on The Psychology of Trading to begin your journey now.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
Well, if you are long, I have a feeling you picked a bad week to give up that bad habit.
It's like I picked the wrong week to quit drinking.
Or maybe something else.
It's like I picked the wrong week to quit sniffing glue.
You picked the wrong week to do a lot of things if you're long. We're down 20 points on the S&P cash. I don't see this abating before we go to the close on Friday now. We'd have to have some spectacular earnings, and I don't see anything in what we're looking at that would be market moving. It may slow this market down. But, you know, even with fund buying out here, the numbers don't look all that good. Got a couple of people that are talking about some things going on out here. Where do I have them out here? I don't know. Anyway, I got some email. And the only thing that drives me nuts is oh, there I had it.
You've got mail.
I've got mail from a nameless, faceless person All I know is he's from vtext.com. Could be a woman, too. Are 3D printers making a bottom? And I don't think so. I think, we've got the kind of damage that is in thing like Stratasys now is the kind of stuff that takes 6 months or a year probably to base out on. I'm not expecting that to change anytime soon. 3D Systems looks a little better technically, but same kind of thing. When it was $100 stock, it's $25 now. When you're trading at 25% of what you were trading for, less than a year ago, there's a lot of people that are going to be riding that down to the bottom that always thought it was going to come back. And normally what you have is time until all those guys are out, or most of them are out, and then the stock can start climbing again. But normally when you get that kind of 25% value, 6 months or a year, these things are going to base out and go sideways. Will there be individual trading opportunities? I think there will. But my guess is that there's no kind of long-term play on these things anytime soon. Mr. Nameless, Faceless, vtext.com customer. If you would, just put in a name and where you're emailing from when you do email me so I know. Taser is spiking today on earnings. Can you review Taser? T-S-A-R. Oh, boy. Now I've got to go find that Taser clip from Beavis and Butthead. This thing's pretty much finishing its ABC up, I would imagine. Let's take a look at the expansions on this. $32.68 would complete the first ABC out of this one that only had basically a 34% retest. Even if you go back to the next move out here, which I think starts at 21.30, 21.41, you're pretty much... Let's take a look at this one real quick. Let's make that the A. We'll make this one the B. And we'll make this one... Well, that actually came back too close, didn't it? So you're not going to even get that one. Yeah, I think that's it. You got to go back to the original long-term ABC that started at $13.40 on October 13th. Your B point would be December 5th out here. You had a very sharp retracement to December 9th at 21.06 to make your C point. That gave you $32.68. Taser's history has been a boom-bust cycle, and I don't suspect that this one is any different. But quite a move out here today and with volume. But my guess is 32.68 is your one-to-one of that original ABC, and that pretty much gives you everything you want. Don't have time for FCX, though. I see in the den. I'm out of time. We'll see you tomorrow. Same bat channel, same bat time.
You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, oil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated folic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They've been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com. You're watching Tiger TV.